Hi guys, it's Lori again, coming to you from Laur's World. As promised, I wanted to have Nicholas on with me today, talk a little bit about his sobriety journey and what it's been all about. Everybody, this is my son Nicholas.
Hey guys, nice to see you.
So honey, I just wanted to thank you so much for doing this with me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. This has been quite a little ride for us.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some ups and downs, a little fun along the way too. So we just wanted to put a lot of fun out there. But it wasn't always like that. And so I am, I'm introducing you to everyone as a part of the beginning of my journey and how it all started for me, coming into my own. And it was because of that fateful day in January of 2010 when you did come to me and drop this bomb on me. And some people say to me, come on, you didn't know. He worked with me, and I have to say, like, my experience with heroin, I have none myself. I see what I see on TV. My picture of a heroin addict is someone laying on the ground that can't move, very gaunt, and just cannot function. So you were working with me, coming into work every day and functioning. So to hear those words, I was like, no. This is not what I thought it was like. And there was no way that I didn't know, because I'm the perfect mother.
Right.
And so, and that's how it started. But again, just a little bit, when he tells me this, I am totally hungover. From a blackout drunk the night before. So my head is spinning. And this child is asking me for help, and I can't even help myself. So what are we going to do? And so I'm going to let you, talk a little bit about, why you came to me for help, because, that was another thing that I was, most 22-year-olds don't ask for help, is what I was told. So he might have a shot.
Huh.
So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to you a little bit so you could talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
Of what it was like.
Why did I come to you? I came to you, at the time I felt like you were the only person that I could probably talk to honestly and openly, and that's still very true today, right? I feel like I could tell you anything. I'm very open with you, and with sobriety, that also has developed, right? I think that our honesty has gone way beyond mother and son, to be honest with you. That day, it was a little bit of a blur, but I do remember you falling into my arms, crying, weeping. I will never forget that sound. It was the worst sound a son could hear. I'm sure, as from a mother's standpoint, hearing that your son is a heroin addict is probably the worst. Just diving back a little bit into my life, like I was a good kid. I am a good kid. I did well in school, and I had just gotten my black belt, actually, in martial arts. And, even myself, last person on the face of the earth to think, like, I was going to be in this world of drug addiction and suffering that I put myself in. But I've always felt, you've always had that in my life where I could trust you, so I knew that I needed help. I knew that I was getting out of hand, and that I could come to you.
Awesome. I think back on it now, and the way that I was raised was asking for help was a sign of weakness, and it is honestly the biggest sign of courage is to ask for help. And that's all anybody needs to do, is that first take that first step and ask for help.
Of course.
yeah. I mean, it was just, and of course I want to help. You're my baby.
Of course.
I want to help you, and so, we took the first steps. I was on the internet all night looking for, a place for him to go, and I found a place that was going to let him detox, and then he was going to go to a rehab, and that was fun. That was fun.
That was very fun. Driving from New Haven to Avon to back to New Haven, because who was going to take me and who wasn't going to take me.
Oh, that was fun. But and the only reason I'm sticking on this for a little bit longer was because this is all my first, dive into addiction. And so when we go to this place in New Haven for him to dry out a little bit is my first slap in the face of this is what addiction really looks like. The people that were there, the ones that were, passed out or so sick, or, when one kid the skin was hanging off of his face, he was just so thin, and and here's Nicholas sitting next to me, and he's got his little polo shirt on and a backpack, and I'm looking around going, oh my God, what is happening? But it was certainly something that opened up my eyes.
Well, it's all perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all the way that we perceive people and life and things like that, and you should never, I certainly don't, I try not to judge anybody or judge, that saying, judge a book by its cover. You can't, because I could have gotten that way. I could have been on a crate on the side of, on the sidewalk, like trying to just keep warm.
Yeah.
I could have gotten there.
And shame on me, because the judgmental part of me, I judged everything, because this is my not life, this is my little world, and that's another world, and it was
everyone has their own journey, right?
Everyone has their own journey. My goodness. But for Nick and I, it was interesting, to say the least. And Nick didn't stay in that rehab for very long, and bounced out, and now what are we going to do? And, and he's, gone somewhere else, and,
that didn't work out.
This didn't work for
that
me.
That didn't work out. How many times?
Yeah.
How many times?
And what is going to work? And I remember going to, for a little meeting with some counselors, and there's, other family members of people, and I'm sitting there with my pen and paper, because I'm going to take really good notes, and I'm going to just fix them, and they're talking, and I'm like, oh my God, they're talking about me. Oh my God, they're talking about me. And so I had this great idea. It was Valentine's Day when we did that little meeting all together, of 2010. And so I had this great idea that I was going to also get sober, and we were going to do it together. Yay! And it was going to be so great, and it was going to be so easy, because we were going to do it together, and yay, let's just let's do this. So of course, I go home, drink myself silly for the next 2 days, because it's going to be my last hurrah, woohoo. And I remember calling Nicholas in rehab and apologizing for everything that because now I think now it's hereditary, and all the things that I passed down to him, including his lactose intolerance, I'm apologizing for. But we are going to do this together. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it together. And, again, I touched on it a little bit last week, like, what was working for me, is going to work for him too, right? I mean, come on, we're related. Mm-hmm. You're my son. And
that's right.
So
it only seems logical.
It seems logical. And yeah, I mean, it was, nothing could be further from the truth. And Nicholas, you were struggling, trying to do Mom's program.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I picked out your sponsor.
You picked out my sponsor. Yep.
Yeah,
and
you did anything I asked of you, and that it was just. So I couldn't understand why you relapsed, because you were doing everything that I did. Oh my God, the first year and a half was a doozy, wasn't it?
It was, and it was tough at the time, but 10 years later, we can look back on it and laugh.
Yeah.
Right? We can look back and just laugh on that situation. Because we didn't know. We didn't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do. That's the struggle here. We're all trying to figure out, what works for us in our own journey. And that was a lesson for her that she had to learn. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, here I am. It's not working for me. And what did work for me? It took me moving to Los Angeles, California for 10 years to find my way. I just moved back about a year ago, and it's been a whirlwind. I've met so many different people. My program, myself, everything that I do as a sober person is different from that day up until now, and it changes every single day.
Doesn't it though? It really does.
Yeah.
It
has to.
Yeah. I mean, what I did in the beginning, I don't do now.
Right.
What I did a couple of weeks ago worked better than, and then, today is, it's just a little bit different. And I, surround myself with really positive people and keep an open mind and be less judgmental. And, and if I'm feeling a little off, I try something different. You never know if it's going to work.
You never know.
You never know if it's going to work.
You never know. And there is so many different paths. There's so many different things that you could do. I did go to AA for a time. I really enjoyed the program of AA. That's just me personally. Towards the end, unfortunately, it didn't work. It didn't work for me. And it wasn't the program, because I still take a lot of the principles and things and the structure of it into my daily life, and in different groups. And so I was getting so many different messages from different people, and I got a little confused. And so I had to find out what
worked for you.
What worked for me, what path was going to work for me. I mean, in the very beginning, I couldn't even identify a feeling. I didn't know, what jealousy was, or even happiness, or just being content. It was these simple things I couldn't figure out, and so with the help of, the program of AA and the people that I met in Los Angeles and things like that, I became a different person. I think not a different person, but the person that I was meant to be. I was meant to be, and I was able to just break out of that shell, and
figure out who you are.
Yeah,
and let everybody know a little bit about what you're doing now for your sobriety, and as far as martial arts. You got to pick that back up, and it's just
right.
It just has.
Changes you. It does change you, and I have a whole different perception on martial arts now too. Back then, not to toot my own horn, toot, but I was kind of good. I traveled, and I was on my way to be a black belt, and we went to tournaments all the time, and I ranked number 1 in all of New England in 2004.
Hey.
And then all of a sudden, I became a heroin addict, just like that. It was literally, I wanted people to like me, and I became addicted to heroin. I stopped going to karate. That's one of the things that has been an absolute delight to get back into. And again, huge perception change. I don't think I would have been humble enough. I'm going for my 2nd degree. 15 years later, I'm going for my 2nd degree. And at the time, I don't think I would have been humble enough to accept it. And now I'm just eternally grateful for my master, for the people that I teach. I'm an instructor now. You know, like
I'm one of the students.
She's
my white belt with my red
belt.
stripe. I love it though. We're doing.
We do a lot
good.
of stuff together.
It's great. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's really interesting to actually see her in that environment. But yeah, I've never felt so good in my life, and it's because I have a clear mind. You know, I've been able to do a lot of different things, try new experiences, all fun new experiences. I went to Japan 2 years ago. Woo! Yeah, you know, like something I just would not have been able to do.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I just absolutely have enjoyed, you know, not the beginning parts of it, but well, when I look back on it now, no, let me back up. But if I look back on it now, if all of those things did not happen, we wouldn't be where we are.
That's true.
I mean, I remember feeling so lost, and I need to do something for you, going to about, you know, 12 meetings in 4 days, you know, looking for that answer of how I could fix you.
Right.
You know, and I had an old timer come up to me and say, I know something you haven't done, Laur. And I'm like, oh my God, what is it? Please tell me. I'll do anything. I'll do anything to help him. He says, continue to set a good example and pray. And I'm like, that's all you got? Like, no. I need to be doing something. But he was so right. I said, he might die. And this gentleman said, he might. And that's his journey, not yours. Oh, that was a hard one to swallow. But I did. I did. I stayed sober. I was so mad at him because he kept relapsing, and I actually was like, I got sober for this. Like, I was mad because I got sober and he was still going out and having fun, like I thought it was fun, right? But I did. I stayed sober and continued to do all the things that, you know, doing the next right thing and trying to set that good example for him. And I'm not perfect, you know, but I had to let that go. I had to let it go and let you do your thing. I had to step out of my way, step out of your way, and just let it go. And that was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, was to let go.
Yeah.
You know, you had called me from California, and, you know, you were just like, you know what, this isn't for me, or, you know, can you come and get me? And I took a deep breath, and I was just like, no. And he said, what? And I said, no, you can't come home. And he said, I'll have Dad send me a ticket. And I said, no, Dad's not going to let you do that either. We agreed, which was the first time we agreed on letting him do his own thing out there. And that was so hard. But he did it. He did it in spite of me, you know, you know, and that was the thing. I had to trust that it was his journey and not mine. And man, oh man, I'm so proud to, you know, to be doing this thing with you, you know, this thing called life, this crazy thing called life. And
Crazy.
Crazy. And you know, learning martial arts with you, and you being one of my teachers. And I don't know, it's so crazy because I never thought that it could be this good.
Yeah.
You know, not partying, you know?
Right.
I remember everything.
Yeah.
I remember what I said. You know, and we get to enjoy it together, and I cannot express, you know, the feeling that I have, you know, being able to sit here with him and do this thing. And I'm forever grateful and humbled. Yeah. But in any event, thank you guys so much. Nicholas, thank you, honey. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you to pieces. And I hope you guys come back and invite a few friends to come back next week and join us again. always remember to trust your journey.